Welcome back to the channel. Today I got my buddy Pascal and my teammate for the Ultimate Time Wizard 3v3. He was on Tengu format, and you're being kind of known to become the fairy god, if I will. How did your tournament go?
It went pretty good. I won a lot of my games. The only games I lost were the same guy, and I got dust shooted first turn in every game I lost. So I think my record was 5-1, and then I died in top 8. But as Brad can attest to, most of the games that I played were over in like 10 or 15 minutes. So the deck was cooking.
Just to clarify, you're playing?
I am playing Chaos Fairies without agents for Tengu format.
Yeah, we came to the conclusion, well, more you than me, that agents are a bit slow and kind of bricky, a little bit ass, and you kind of just take your Edison deck and just made it better.
Exactly. Less things to make D-Alchemist timing, recycling BLS, you got 3 Swark, you got Tour Guide. There's a lot going for the deck in this format.
All right, let's check it out.
Sweet. Okay, so let's get into the deck profile here. The very first card, and kind of the reason why I decided to play this deck in Tengu, it's usually my Edison deck, was the fact that your Chaos package in this format is insane. You can play the 1 copy of BLS. This won me so many games. Just like instant turn 2, you get really searchable Honest with Tour Guide, and he's fantastic. You can loop him with Alchemist, you can banish him with Sork, with Sopal, so many ways to get him back, and just unbelievably insane in this format. Then we played 3 Chaos Sork. It's a 3 this format. It's an unbelievable Chaos monster. As said, Sork recycles itself. You got 2 Sork, you banish 1 Sork, banish a light, and then when your Dim Elf dies, you get to add back a Sork.
What's going on here, Pascal?
I don't know about that. That's I only have the Ultra for Edison, so these are the poverty rarity ones there. But yeah, the card's nuts. You have Herald. You can make easy dark ends. Like a lot of things you can do with this. Priority's still around, so he's insane. And the fact that your dark count is so high means you can play cards like Allure, which you can't play in Edison. Then double Christia. Christia is at 2 in this format, so your fairy package isn't quite as strong, but Christia itself is way stronger in this format. People barely play any back row. Agents and Tengu play like 5 or 6 back row, usually the warnings, and you've got Lilas and stuff to get rid of them. And once this guy hits the field, they're not going to like deprison you very often or do anything like that, so he's just floating and he just kills most of the decks in the format. Then we have 2 Soul of Purity and Light. This is part of the fairy package. I'm playing it. It helps you out Thunder King, which is very, very nice. And just a 2k body, banishes lights. Also very good with Levier. You can banish like a Herald, Levier, get your Herald back, Synchro for an 8. And yeah, a lot of the day just baited out of Thunder King. But the only reason I'm playing this is because you lose a lot of your good fairies moving from Edison to Tengu. Like Honest goes to 1, you lose the Christia. So I just wanted to fill the fairy count. And then the MVP of the deck is the 3-dimensional Alchemist. Now, if you don't know what this card does, when it dies by battle or card effect, you get to add one of your banished cards back to your hand, one of your banished monsters. And in this format, it's insane. In Edison, you have Deprison, you have Caius, you have Brain Control, all these things that make your Alchemist not get to resolve its effect. In this format, you are most likely resolving its effect. People don't play that much banish removal other than like Trishula. And you can bring this thing back off Levier, so you have like technically way more than 3 copies. Then we play 3 Herald. This is just better Valor, destroys, and it's a tuner, which is very nice. Can be used in the damage step. Amazing card. And the last fairies we're playing are the Honest. This won me a bunch of games too, because you can just like Tour Guide, Sangan, Special BLS, crash the Sangan, add the Honest, and then kill them. Unbelievable. And then 2 Nova Summoners. It's a slow battle floater, but that's honestly not awful in Tengu, I found. And people think this is a Raikou very often. And yeah, I just wanted to keep my fairies higher so I get good mills. I think the total fairy count is 13. On Edison, I'm at around 15 to 16 fairies. Then we got the Dark engine here. 3 Tour Guide, insane dark, very easy Levier access. You can also just special your Sangan, which gets you things like Raikou for your recharge, Honest, or Dimensional Alchemist to reuse any of your banished material. We got 1 Gores right here. Gores is still amazing. And double Tragodia. This is the best card hands down in the Edison version of the deck, and it is still the best card in the Tengu version of the deck, and now you have 2 of them. And this deck always keeps a fat hand. You're always at 5 or 6 cards in hand, and if you have something like Summon Alchemist, banish something pass, that Alchemist replaces itself, so this thing's going to be massive. You have tons of level variations. You have 7s, 8s, you have 4s, 2s, 3s. You can literally steal like almost any monster and pop off with a drag, and it won me a lot of games. And there's some really cool things you can do. Like I was playing, I had a D-Elk and a Dragon hand, and my opponent had a big board with a Scrap Dragon. I summoned the Elk, crashed, added back Christia, dropped this, stole his Scrap Dragon, and then made phase 2 pop the like 0 attack point drag in one of his cards. finally, 2 Mexi, more hand traps, helps you draw into your hand traps. Mexi is just really good, nice addition to the format. You play so many hand traps that you're very likely to see one if they play into it.
This card you were mentioning before too, it also helps you draw into the Trag, which makes it bigger. But like
Exactly.
you have Roars, Trag,
Heralds, Honest,
and so this
so
just
many hand traps.
gets you it pretty much every time you have something like an answer for something.
It's great. And worst case, it's just an upstart goblin. If you need your Light Sworn for like Solar Recharge or something, you just play your Maxi and it's an upstart. And then for the Light Sworn package, I'm using the same September 2012 Chaos Dragon Light Sworn package with one slight difference. So it's 3 Lila. Lila's better MST. As said, Tengu plays like 6 traps. They set a warning, you summon the Lila. It will eat that warning instantly. They're 2k life lower. You summon a Sork, summon a BLS. You're going off. Then I play 1 Jane. Just helps you punch over Thunder King, which if you don't have a Trag or a Raikou or something can be a little annoying, but it's not as bad as it is for something like Agents most of the time. And double Raikou. I love Raikou. I'm only on 2 just because somebody attacking into your Raikou with a Tengu feels really bad. And then for spells, I'm playing 8 spells and no traps. We got 1 Charge, we got Dark Hole, we got Reborn, we got Allure, again, insane card within the new number of darks you can play. And if you banish anything, you can get back with Alk, Heavy Storm, and 3 copies of Solar Recharge, which is so much more consistent than it is in Edison. As said, Tour Guide just gets you a Solar Recharge target. And so easy to just like first turn activate Recharge Millidart, get a live Sork. If you're playing against something like Agents, you banish their Venus, so they can't Hyperion on you and they're just left with a Gotchi. They have to clear your Sork with no grave, or you just for free banish their Gotchi the next turn. And that's like the amazing thing. You can play 3 Sork and it isn't bricky. Nothing really like an issue there. Then for the extra deck, shoutouts to Brad for the sick Boars token.
Yeah, boy.
Then we got a 4 for the Armory Arm. We got a Allied Justice Cataster for a 5, just if you need to sync off a Sangan or something. I did that a few times. Brio really makes it easy to go into Christia. Black Rose, Stardust, Thought Ruler, Avenging Knight Parshat. This thing is so good with all the tokens running around in the format. Like, as said, that Sopal Levier play I talked about where you banish a Herald and then special to Sopal, you can make this thing, and if they've got like Dandy tokens, you change 1 to attack, so Levier can attack it for 1800, and then you pierce the other, and that's over 4000 damage. Super easy. Just ignores the fact that they have tokens. Colossal, Dark End, amazing. I think Dark End is actually still better than Scrap Dragon in this format. I mean, it just sends for free, and you've got the 3 Sork to make it, so it's really good. 1 Utopia. I actually, when I was deck building, I forgot Roach was in the format. I probably would have played a Roach instead of the Utopia. But yeah, you take a lot of things with Tragodia, and then you just overlay for Utopia if you need to. Double Levier, insane. Recycle Honest, recycle Lila. If you need like an extra MST, recycle Alchemist. Unbelievable addition to the deck. And then we've got double Leviathan Dragon. And my side is a little bit more scuffed. I kind of just went into it not really 100% knowing what to side to tank, but it worked out pretty well. So we got 1 Nova Summoner. I just wanted to keep my fairy count up if I was playing things like Hero Beat, where Herald is just awful, like TG Stun or something like that. And then you just side these guys in, or side him in when you're taking out your Heralds. 1 Max C, and finally 1 Raikou. Raikou went in when either Jane or Lila was bad. So for example, if you're playing against something like Agents, you don't really want to Lila their back row because they don't have back row. So I would put this in, or against like Gravekeepers, this can hit a Necro Valley where Jane isn't that useful. And then for spells, we've got 3 copies of MST. This went in almost every game, just kind of anticipating their pre-side. It's just a solid card. The nice thing is they also usually board out all their MSTs, because with this deck, you play 0 spells or traps that you are setting for them to MST. So if they play 2 MST and Heavy Storm, they've got 3 cards that are just instantly, completely useless against you, which is fantastic. Then 2 Closed Forest. Gravekeepers is kind of rough sometimes. You have 32 monsters, so you don't want to get Roll Tributed. And that was just kind of assurance against that deck. 2 Leeching, amazing against Agents, and that's actually one of the things I like about this deck. Leeching, when I was playing Agents before, like fucking cooks you if you've got a Hyperion and a bunch of guys on board and they just tour guide into tour guide and then leeching you. In this deck, Leeching isn't that good. The only thing you ever leave up really that's a light is going to be your Alchemist, who's only 1300 on their turn, and going to be your Christia. And if you have a Christia out, they can only have 1 dude because they can't special summon. So the worst thing they can do is punch you for 28 or punch you for like 1000 or whatever their tour guide is, and then Christia goes back on top and you just summon it the next turn. So love that this wasn't as good as it is against Agents, and that I could use it very well. 1 Messenger. This was against Hero Beat or a bunch of the aggro decks. I said they're probably siding out the MSTs, and then you can just have it out and let it die when you want to kill them. Double Forbidden Lance, also against Hero Beat and just trap heavy decks, stop their Gemini Sparks, and kind of get over Thunder King. And the last 2 cards were Double Royal Decree. to just kind of shut down any trap decks that I played.
Along with every profile, I always ask the player some questions so that you guys at home can have a better understanding rather than just the cards that they played. So I guess I'll ask, the first question is, what would be the weakness of the deck?
So definitely the Royal Tribute decks. Gravekeepers can hurt, and you don't like playing into super heavy back row game one because you're not maining MST. So that's really the only issue the deck has. It can still grind through back row pretty well, but if you have a slower hand, it can be a little bit tricky. So you like playing Tengu and Agents a lot, but like TG, skill drain. Skill drain game one kills you because it's literally Storm is your only out. So.
And Dust Shoot.
And Dust Shoot. That's true.
You love the Dust Shoot.
Especially when they Dust Shoot you and see that your hand is 3-dimensional Alchemist, a Chaos Sorcerer, and a Sopal, and they take away your Chaos Sorcerer, then you're sad.
Look at his memory is so vivid because he's been, scarred by that memory. Okay, well, I'd say what advantages does this deck have over, say regular fairies or any of the other decks in the format?
So you can reuse all your Chaos monsters and you can get them alive so much quicker than the other Chaos decks can. Like if you're playing something like Agents, to get a Chaos Sorcerer alive, you either need to like summon an Agent one turn, use your Venus effect, then next turn summon a Tour Guide, get the Tour Guide material engraved. In this deck you just activate Recharge and boom, you got a Light in the Dark. You're set, you're gaming. You get way more recurable Christia, you get way more recurable BLS and Sork. You have a better Leviair, and you're not as weak to hand traps because almost all your summons are inherent.
All right, well, I guess the last question will be, do you have any tips or insights that you want to give the players at home that want to give it a try?
I'd say just give it a shot. I think there's tons of things to be explored with the deck. You can even fit cards like Dark-Armed Dragon in, maybe a bit more bricky, but it's pretty consistent to get to 3 darks, so there's a lot to be done, and it's a lot of fun. There's just so many different lines and so many different things you can do. I think you guys will really enjoy the deck.
All right, well, thanks a lot for coming by and showing off your top 8 profile, and for you guys at home, I hope you enjoyed it and give it a shot yourself. Until next time, peace.